ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast. I'm, of course, Nick McDaniel. As always, I'm joined by my Myron.
Yes, your loyal assistant, the most handsome man in podcasting, Myron Fancher. Folks, you missed it. Nick just explained the Major League pitch clock to me. Among other things that confused the living hell out of me, I might have now understood this.
Maybe.
And now he'll explain professional wrestling to the rest of us.
Hey, before we get into the wrestling thing, man, let's talk about what we did yesterday. We had a great time yesterday. You again helping me out on the grill, man.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I more along just kind of stood there because if you need a friend to stand around near you and tell dick jokes for 8 hours, I'm your guy.
Yeah.
But
so we did an event yesterday. Let's kind of fill them in a little bit. We both shared a picture of us manning the grill yesterday. So it's an event that's kind of near and dear to both of us. So like years ago, it's been a few years. I used to be on the board of this event. It's called the Man Olympics. Think of it's a grown man's field day. Basically, there's football, toss, free throw, cornhole, washers, all that kind of stuff. I just should have done a better job promoting it going into the event this year. We were just distracted. I promise you next year we'll do a little more. But they basically, it's at an American Legion in Sugar Hill now. The event has
lovely
moved.
place.
Yeah.
Recommend it. Food's delicious.
Yeah. And yesterday it was even better because we were cooking it. So anyway, we did hamburgers, hot dogs, chips, that kind of stuff. For the day of the event. So they needed volunteers to man the grill. So that's what we kind of did to help out while the competitors were in there competing in the events. The great thing about the event, by the way, is kind of get to the meat and potatoes of it. The event's fun, by the way. There's beer, there's food, there's, like I said, all the events, there's prizes, there's auctions, all this great stuff that goes on. So give the page a follow because I think there's a rumor they may do a fall event now. They might do a fall and a spring event. So I'm not 100% sure on that, but they give it a follow just in case. I'd love to see some of our wrestling fans, especially here local, sign up and get involved.
Yes. All the money goes to charity for breast cancer.
So it goes to Paint Georgia Pink. I will share it, by the way. I'll probably share it on social media, and I'll also share it in the show notes as well, paintgeorgiapink.org. The reason why we're a big fan of this, and look, it's not a knock on any organization when I say what I'm about to say. There's lots of national organizations. They raise a ton of money, and it goes for research and all of that, and that's great. However, Paint Georgia Pink is very, very local. Essentially, what all the money does is it goes to the big hospital that they donate to is Gwinnett, because the event it's a Gwinnett, county area event. They donate a bunch of money that they raise, and what the money goes for is it's for local people, women that are going through treatments. They're struggling to pay their bills or that kind of stuff. These funds help them make ends meet while they're going through treatment. So it's like I said, it's really personal, close to home for a lot of us, and it is local, which is cool. I do appreciate that a lot, that it is local, that and you're impacting somebody's life directly. It's not just national research, that type of thing. It's actually something really, really, personal, in my opinion. So,
yes, I competed 3 times, and 2 of the 3 times got the overall lowest score. The other time I got the second to lowest score, proving my aim does not improve.
Yeah,
with a couple of beers in me.
Yeah, I competed for years, and like I said, just over the last couple of years, my regular job, the woodman stuff with the insurance, kind of does make donations to the event, and then we kind of like have cooked, because look,
we don't have time for training, so we do what we can.
It's just they need volunteers, and that's a tough gig. I mean, you can hear me today. Between the pollen and the allergies and all of the grill smoke and grease smoke and all that, I can barely breathe today. But listen.
Well, if you've never watched Nick cook, he is so efficient, it's mind blowing. I couldn't keep up with him, and I was just bun man. He was running that thing. I couldn't get the buns open fast enough. He was running that grill and like maintaining the food ratios and everything. It was just amazing to see. The man hasn't worked in fast food in 30 years, but he was still still hadn't lost a step.
It's been a while. Yeah. I'm just, listen, I tell my wife, I try to be efficient at everything.
He was, it's a sight to see. He is extremely efficient at most things. I, on the other hand, am not, even though I try.
Well,
I missed my calling was my previous job, and outside of that job, I'm not worth a damn. Except for podcasting, which that once you get me on the stage, I'm quite talented.
And you know what, Myron? Where we do our best podcasting is on the video, kind of like the people that are watching us now. Over on our YouTube home, youtube.com, search Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast. Our handle is @TappedOutPod, of course, because that's where it is everywhere and anywhere. You look, we always tell you, look, if you're a YouTube watcher, go find the page, like the page, subscribe, turn your notifications on. You can even become a member and, get the show early and all that good stuff. Like, we record on Sundays. It drops later, obviously on Mondays or later during the week, and some of the bonus content. Like, we got something special. I'm going to mention it later in the show, coming later this week, we hope. We talked to somebody yesterday, and we talked about getting some content later in this week on some stuff. So, and we'll address that. So stick around, and you'll hear later into the show what that is. And by the way, you also want to stick around, Myron, because guess what? We discussed a new segment a while back, and we're going to debut it this week. So if you want to hear this new segment, you got to hang around till later in the show. It will be there.
Yeah. Okay. You're going to record me trying out the Manscaped.
Something like that.
Okay.
It'll have to do with some apparel, maybe. Anyway, let's get to there. But before we do, listen, all of this stuff is all about getting healthy. We're trying to get healthy. Those hamburgers and hot dogs were not. Those hamburgers and hot dogs were not like the healthy option.
I kept doing the Macho Man and step into a Slim Jim.
But every morning when you wake up, look, if you're trying to get healthy, look, we get it. If you're trying to do paleo, keto, all that crazy stuff, it doesn't matter. Everyone should start their morning with one big giant glass of AG1.
Yes.
You're going to need a smaller cabinet, because now you can take all those supplements you're taking or not taking and replace them with this. AG1 by Athletic Greens brings 75 vitamins, minerals, whole food sourced ingredients, probiotics, and adaptogens together in one place. It might just be the most comprehensive and convenient nutritional regimen on the planet. Immunity supporting, recovery enhancing, digestion improving, energy lifting. Made to the strictest quality standards. Made New Zealand. Made for just about everybody.
That's right, man. Check them out over at athleticgreens.com. Get your AG1 and get your path to healthiness started today.
Mm-hmm.
So, speaking of new starts, Myron, let's start at our home away from home, the WWE, right? So look, there was a little bit of a debate about what the biggest story was. So I deferred to you and said, okay, I'll let you make the case for what you thought was the biggest case, and we'll start there.
I honestly think the biggest story was it was WWE. Oh God, that screen is bright over there. I pulled up my notes to look at them.
You're good.
I got more brightness. Guys, I looked at everything. Now, outside of some of the best matches I've seen on television in a while, we got one at least 5-star David or Myron Meltzer match. That's what we're just going to call it. And at least a 4-star on Friday night, which I thought was phenomenal.
Can we call you Myron Feltzer?
Myron Felter. Call me Myron Felter.
Feltzer. You got it's Meltzer, but with an F. Feltzer. Because you get it, Myron Feltzer.
I like Myron Felter.
Okay.
Whatever we call me, it doesn't matter. I think the biggest actual story was the Twitch thing. It not only, they did get their piece of it, because look, seriously, folks, if we expect WWE to let licensed, that they own the name, trademarked, signed talent to do something without getting a piece of it, it's not going to happen. They get what, 10%? The E gets 10%. Twitch gets a percentage. The streamer gets a percentage. This is a very, very modern concept. Okay. Streaming is a big deal. These people have name recognition and they're going to be streaming to a wrestling audience. This is going to affect your revenue as a professional wrestler and give them a whole new revenue stream, especially people like Xavier Woods, people who have the opportunity and have a following and have this ability to automatically jump in and pull up and know what they're doing. They've granted them a massive win on this. Just giving this ability to do this again and trusting them to stay on content. The Mandy Rose thing and to me, the Mandy Rose things and the OnlyFans, I guess she was making more on OnlyFans than she was making on her WWE contract.
Could be.
Because she left for it. Now, I didn't look at her OnlyFans, so I don't know what her price was. Because, you pay by the month. And then you can buy pay-per-views. I'm just saying based on our OnlyFans. That's the only experience I have with OnlyFans.
Yeah.
Based on how we charge for our content there. So, it's a tough situation. But internet content's the way it's going to go in the future. Streaming, we're not going to have televisions. We're just going to have streaming devices.
I made a case with the wife the other day. It might be time to kill all television. Like DirecTV stream, no YouTube TV, nothing. Just go all apps.
Yeah, you could do that. You could really do that.
I tried. The only argument, because here's the thing. She said, what about wrestling? And I'm like, if I can figure out a way to watch Raw and SmackDown without any of those services, because here's the argument you can make. You can do all of the channels have an app now for the most part, or a streaming service that you can get it for. Mm-hmm. Or people don't even realize, like through Apple, you can buy a season of a show and just watch it as it comes out. Like, new shows. Like you can just pay a lump sum price and you get the entire season of a show.
Well, honestly, wrestling's the only thing I actually, and in SEC football or NCAA football, is the only thing I watch on television. I don't watch TV or what we're going to put TV shows. I watch streaming shows. I watch stuff on the Disney Plus, Netflix, channels like that.
Yeah.
I don't watch anything. What's the other one?
Max.
HBO Max, things like that. I don't watch television except for wrestling. If you get and I have YouTube TV because the girlfriend has to have massive TV all the time. Even if they're not watching it, she has to have it going.
Yeah.
It has to be going nonstop. Even if she's on TikTok streaming videos, the TV has to. Just talking to her about getting rid of TV is like, I'd rather talk to her about selling the house and living in a cardboard box than discontinuing TV service.
Yeah, but I think like what you were saying though about the Twitch, I agree to some extent, but I do disagree.
Okay.
I just think that basically it was all negotiation more than anything. I think they took it away. I think it was more taking it from Twitch as well as just taking it away from the wrestlers. I think they did want the control aspect of it. They did want their piece of the pie. But I do think, listen, I think they make more money on Twitch with their WWE name than they do their regular name.
Yes, exactly. But the thing is, since this is they wanted to have their property on it. They're going to be able to put that WWE down in the corner, put that watermark on it now. It's going to be their property. They can regulate what they do. Ain't nobody going to be fishing a dick out on this stream because it's WWE property.
So let's say, because they did say, by the way, the talent and Twitch get most of the money. WWE gets a smaller piece. Let's make an argument. If it was 45 talent person and WWE gets 10.
Yeah. My
argument would be that I don't know. I'm trying to think of who were the big streamers? Is Selena Vega one of them?
One of the girls left.
Let me ask you this. And okay, this is, by the way, I know this scenario is different just because I know some of the legalities behind the situation. But hypothetically, would AJ Styles generate more money than Alan Jones on Twitch?
Yes.
Yes.
Because nobody knows who Alan Jones is.
Don't come at me about I do know the legal backstories, and that's a terrible example. I'm just using it as an example. AJ still owns the name, blah, blah, blah. There's lots of things about it. It's just while he's there, they own it, whatever. So I'm trying to think if Rusev, when he was there, if he had a Twitch channel, which I believe he did, if at the time, if he was still employed there, by the way, if he used his real name on Twitch or Rusev, do you think he's going to make 10% more to justify paying WWE 10%? My argument would be probably so. I don't know what the percentage is.
What about Sasha Banks? I love her in The Mandalorian. She's doing a great job. She doesn't have a really big speaking role. She's doing a good job as an actress on the show. I know who Sasha. I don't know what is she? Mercedes Moné or something?
Yeah.
Mercedes is a real name, I think. Monet, I don't know what that's from. I don't recognize that name if it was on a Twitch stream. Sasha Banks, I would.
But even if, like I said, currently constructed, if you were there, like if you told me Liv Morgan was going to start a Twitch or her real name was going to start a Twitch, I wouldn't know her real name was.
I
would be looking for Liv Morgan for 4 days. I would never find her under her real name. So I do think it depends on what the percentage is, by the way, as well. So we'll leave it at that. I think what the cut is, if it's a small cut, the big cut,
it's a very small cut.
So that's the argument to be made. I, however, thought the bigger story of the week was it's been out there now that Triple H era officially begins at the draft on Friday. By the way, how genius, because everybody was like, why are they doing the draft this week? Why don't they wait till after Backlash? You do realize the NFL draft is this week.
Oh, I didn't
They're
realize.
doing them concurrent. It starts Thursday.
Oh, they're going to do them. Oh, wow.
Thursday, I believe, starts round one, and Friday starts round, the WWE. It's just coincidental. I mean, so.
No, nothing's coincidental with Triple H in charge. Nothing's coincidental. Beautiful. How about you piggyback attention? Okay? I did not even think about that. Piggyback attention. Beautiful. The Triple H era starts with a massive strategy.
Listen to this. Friday, and I'm guessing, I could be wrong. There are going to be people that go on social media, and you know what they're going to type on Friday night?
What's that?
Draft. And what Google or what social media results are you going to get? Both. You're going to get the WWE.
If you go into Twitter, because it's going to blow up.
You'll see hashtag draft, or you'll see WWE draft, NFL draft. All of that stuff's going to get blurred because of the algorithms that you're going to see a lot of those results. I think, but like I said, I thought was a smart play to push it to this week just so they're running at the same time. Hopefully you'll get some hits on it. But I'm more excited that we basically are officially hearing the Triple H era officially is going to begin then. Like he gets to set the roster.
The emails to everyone saying that Triple H is in charge, and this whole black profile things on Twitter. Okay, folks, if you're judging everything based on the actions of professional wrestlers outside or inside the ring, outside WWE or inside WWE, there's a good chance you're still getting worked. Everybody was like, Seth, well, how did Seth react to the Omos match? Seth knew he was going to work Omos. They didn't just drop that on him. This is all prepared and worked out ahead of time. I know it's not right to say that. I know people don't say it's predetermined, but you really don't think if Triple H told people to act like there's trouble, they wouldn't do it? Do you think I think Seth Rollins is dissatisfied after that massive? How much do you think he drew for his WrestleMania match? With Paul, with Logan Paul.
Oh yeah.
And an endorsement soda bottle. Okay, that was probably a massive draw for them. I think he's okay. I think they're all okay.
Oh yeah, easily.
I wouldn't worry about it.
Yeah. By the way, something not in the notes that I wanted to ask you. How about the article?
Yes.
By the way, I'm going to trash half of our notes right here because this is going to be longer than we think. How about the pitch going around that Logan Paul should be the Money in the Bank winner?
I wouldn't fight that. I wouldn't fight that at all. I mean, his contract is huge, so you're going to have to milk it. You're going to have to. You're going to have to get everything you can out of it. Why not give it to him? Why not put him on the biggest stage? Because that draws.
Here's what it does. Every time he shows up, it's a big deal because he could be cashing in. You know, so if you teased, he's your Mr. Money in the Bank, Logan Paul. By the way, how much fun could he have with that on social media?
Exactly, because every time he starts a show, you know what he's going to have? He's going to have his briefcase. He's going to be introducing people to that briefcase who've never heard about that before.
Yeah, he'll go on his show if he wins, and he'll talk about, you never know when I'm going to show up. I might be at Raw tonight, might be at Smackdown tonight, might be at pay-per-view. You never know. And then, like I said, even if he just his music hits and he shows up, he's going to cash in, and he doesn't, and he just milks that out for
Yesterday, we were around our demographic. We had that conversation with some of our friends.
Mm-hmm.
If you'd have walked in around those guys and asked them who Logan Paul was, I probably would say 75% wouldn't know. The 25% either have kids that are in the demographic or they're still pretending they're young, which a lot of people still do. They're not trying to get us anymore. Once you get to 49, you're on the end. Once you hit 50, they don't want you anymore because they know you'll come around anyway. And if you don't, they're not who the advertisers are going for. Logan Paul is not there to appeal to me and you. Okay. Logan Paul is there to draw a different audience. So if I were to complain about Logan Paul, it doesn't matter because no one's going to listen.
Yeah.
If a 22-year-old complains about Logan Paul, that's different. Okay? They'll listen to that guy. They're not going to listen to us old people.
But here's the funny part is, he's not a wrestler. Is that a bad thing? Because he performs
Was
like
Mr.
one.
T a wrestler?
No, I just meant, but here's the difference between, in my opinion, Mr. T and Logan Paul. You could make a hard case. Logan Paul, if you are in denial if you do not think that he has at least performed above anybody's expectations of him in the ring. I'm not saying he's the greatest of all time. I'm not saying whatever your expectations of him were in the ring, it's a hard argument for you to make that he did not exceed those when you heard he was going to get into the ring. And by the way, he's not done it once, twice, 3 times. You see what I'm saying? He has done it 4 times.
Mania. And he did not fail to do it right.
Yeah.
He even got that gimmick in where he dove off the stage and Seth got out of the way. He hit his own soda bottle when it had his friend in it, KS1. I can't keep that.
Yeah.
Because 50 years old. But I know what they're doing.
So you'd be all for him being champion or for Money in the Bank?
Yes, because it helps everybody.
By the way, you want to hear the crazy thing? If they split these titles up, I'm not above him being champion. No. I wouldn't say I would struggle. Him being undisputed universal champion, like both belts.
No, you can't.
Maybe I would struggle with that a little bit. I'm not saying I wouldn't do it. I'm just saying I might struggle with the process a little bit. But being
I'd
one
put the
of
U.S.
the two,
belt on him so fast.
No,
I wouldn't put the Intercontinental on him. I would put the U.S. Championship on him so fast, and I would put one of the big title belts on him without even thinking
So
about
you'd
it.
like to see Logan Paul and Austin Theory go at it for the U. But here's the thing: the cashing in of I was not a fan of that. I think you only cash in Money in the Bank on the big.
I agree 100%. You can only cash it in on the WWE.
Because here's the crazy thing. I'll give you a hypothetical, Myron. Sorry to interrupt. I want to ask you this. Roman has a match with somebody like, okay, he can't wrestle Brock. He can't wrestle. I'm trying to wiggle. Anyway, pick anybody, any big talent. They go toe-to-toe, and he beats him, but he's got that weak moment. Logan Paul cashes in and takes those belts off of him.
Yes, that's the way that should work. That's the way it's supposed to work. That's the high drama that makes me love professional wrestling. The Cobra strikes when you're weak. Oh.
By the way, speaking of Roman losing, and then we're going to move on, somebody made a case and an argument for what if before the Saudi show, the Night of Champions, by the way, which they've renamed Night of Champions, it's not King and Queen of the Ring anymore. If Roman has to defend those titles there, here's a great case to be made. Is there 50 million reasons why they've decided to make the title change there and not at Mania? Has the $50 million payday for Saudi made them get? And I don't want to say some creative. We're paying you $50 million. We want Roman losing here.
Did the city of Los Angeles send any creative demands in?
No.
Saudi Arabia probably asked for some shit.
Listen,
don't you think?
They asked for a dead Yokozuna. They asked for,
yes.
I'm just saying, so
yes.
they have put in requests in the past. They've wanted Goldberg, in main event. They wanted, or big time stuff. My argument being, WrestleMania is WrestleMania. But if they're going to continue to pay you $50 million paydays, could they be the one like, hey, is there any way you can make the title change here?
1,000 days will be over.
Yep.
There's a reason Roma's not going to Puerto Rico.
Yep.
Preserve the 1,000 days.
Mm-hmm.
That ends. Then he goes to Saudi. Take one of the belts off of him. Take the belt he's had the shortest time off of him. Leave him with the 1,000-day belt. Keep that going until whenever. What's the next big pay-per-view? SummerSlam?
No, there's probably going to be one in between.
But then you have Cody building Cody. Cody conquers Brock. Cody keeps fighting. Cody has to take on, Seth is a babyface. Cody has to brush through all of the rest of the things, the bloodline. Cody has to tag up with Sammy and Kale.
Yeah. Sorry, I just double checked. Night of Champions is May. Are they that close? Oh no, okay. May 27th is Night of Champions. July 1st is Money in the Bank in London.
Oh, Money in the Bank in London. Where in London?
It's in one of the. I can't remember which arena they're using.
Is it Wembley?
No. They're doing one of the arenas.
See, because in Wembley, I'm looking forward to CM Punk versus Goldberg.
Are you ready? Well, let's table that for the AEW. We're about to get there. I do want to ask you. This is the only other thing. Trish is a heel. Thumbs up, thumbs down, or thumbs in the middle for you?
Well, she nearly killed Lita. Okay? Don't ever try to kill Lita. Lita used to fill my spank bank like a tax refund. Okay? My first love affair.
Don't go down this don't go down this rabbit hole. Let's just keep it rolling.
Sorry. Yes, incredibly talented Lita. I remember when she was Miss Congeniality. What was that in ECW? Yes. She dropped, what does it look like, a bread cart on her? Maybe it was hamburger buns. I don't know. We didn't have that yesterday. We just had to push them by hand. But and then come out there and First, she betrayed Becky on, the night before, the show before. And everybody's like, what did you do that for? And she came out there and cut the nastiest bitch promo. Like a man can cut a promo, a nasty promo, but a woman can cut, and now this is not a sexist comment or anything. A woman can cut a promo on somebody that is scary. It's so evil. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Here's the thing, man. Trish, and people laugh when I've said this in decades. I just think she's a better heel.
Yes,
I do, and she's so good at it. And it's funny too, because what do we always say, Myron? The best heels believe a little bit of what they're saying, and she's like, "I'm the one that made you guys care. I'm the one who started wrestling. Well, all these others were out here and pudding in panties, and and I'm the one
pudding
who made
panties
exactly." Wrestling. So I there's like a layer of truth in there, and that's a good thing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes.
So anyway,
I was thinking about pudding in panties.
I just was a big fan. I said I'm a fan of the 100%.
Yes, and sorry, I'm still thinking of pudding in panties. Now, pudding in panties has a place. It's just not in wrestling.
Right. But
okay, doesn't take my wrestling seriously. But yes. Trish was a groundbreaking talent. She actually wrestled. Now she was TNA. She was that attractive, beautiful woman who was a major fitness athlete. When she had to go, she went. She did what she was. Now was she Charlotte? No. Was she a prototype?
She was the bridge. That's the thing people don't get. She set the table so there could be a level of wrestler. That was kind of the whole point of what she was getting at. So kudos to Trish. But let's move it along. Get out of it.
That was a scary promo, though.
Yeah, good shit. Speaking of scary promos, by the way, for a couple different reasons, the Four Pillars at AEW. I want to talk about the segment that they had. So you basically had Sammy, Jungle Boy, Darby, and MJF in a promo battle there. I'm going to tell you the good and I'm going to tell you the bad at the same time, in my opinion, on this segment. I was a little nervous because the crowd really didn't seem like they were that into it in the beginning. They're really quiet and they were really I was like, oh God, they're not biting. Here's my defense to this though. I think Sammy, Jungle Boy, and Darby and MJF, if you're seriously looking long term, build on it. Run with it. You're going to look, you're going to have some moments where you have got to get the crowd invested into it and build long term. I think all four of those guys are potentially somebody you can build around, especially, I'm about to state the obvious, especially if MJF is the straw that stirs this drink. I think that's how you make it work.
You better keep that damn straw. All I'm saying. They can't afford to mess around with losing him. The other three, potential. The other three, get them some anabolic steroids and some sandwiches. Okay, I'm sorry. They need to be a little bit bigger. No, that's just my take on it.
You want them to be bigger. Sorry. Demo loves them.
Demo.
You don't. You want them bigger.
Yes. I want them to at least be the size of Savage. Who was a smaller guy from when we were in our formative wrestling years?
I mean, a small guy back in the day would be like a Brad Armstrong. I
want them all like
I'm
Brad
gonna date
Armstrong.
myself, Tim Horner.
They're just, smaller guys.
Yeah. Point being is I do believe there is a future with Sammy, Jungle Boy, Darby, and MJF. I get it because a lot of people crapped on the the crowd's dead. I'm like, patience. Let them get there. I get it. It did concern me a little bit that the crowd was quiet. I just think you're going to have to just continue to build this week after week after week to make them care. Speaking of which, don't kill the messenger here, Bully Ray, Tommy Dreamer, and Dave LaGreca shit all over the Adam Cole, Britt Baker, Chris Jericho, Outcasts segment. They said it was the most rushed thing, and by the way, they're not wrong in most cases here.
Well, it was about kendo stick etiquette.
Yeah.
And I think two of those three guys are the mismanners of kendo stick etiquette, the Dear Abby of proper kendo stick use. So I think they know a bit about that. And what did they say about how it was handled?
Listen, it just was rushed. They didn't let it breathe. They just moved super fast. They were, things were running late. They were rushing, and, Aubrey Edwards ran to the ring per a fan that was in the bed. Who knows? Per sources said, that she was screaming they had to hurry up and wrap the segment, had to go home, but whatever you want to call it. So, yeah, lots of hurry and lots of things. And, and look, I recommend there are moments. Listen, I won't lie to you. There are episodes of Busted Open I can't stomach. There's certain, I'm not even going to crap on anybody. There are people on that show. There are certain days I can't listen to the show. It just doesn't work for me, and that's okay. By the way,
I've had trouble in the past listening to the show because I would catch it on those days you're talking about, and it would drag and drag.
But
and
listen,
drag.
In all fairness, Myron, there's probably people that would make the same case about our show, and that's okay.
Well, that's why I try to be so lovely and comical, and handsome.
Yeah. But that's kind of the why. There's lots to be said about they rushed to the pre-tape segment with the Hardys, then they went right back to the ring in the match.
Well, you can only fit so much sugar in a sack, and I think they try to get everything in just because they think they just got to show everybody everything.
Okay,
but
let me ask you then. I'm going to ask you another question then. I'm going to jump notes here. I'm going to throw you off. I'm going to jump around in the notes a little bit.
Well, you can't throw me off.
They've announced, basically we're probably going to get another 2-hour show of AEW on Saturday nights, 6 to 8, 8 to 10, who the fuck knows, whatever.
So six nights a week, some nights 7, I've got wrestling on television.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Here's my fair comparison. I'm saying I'm one of the ones who said it. 3 hours of Raw, 1 hour of NXT, and 2 hours of SmackDown is way too much TV of one company in a week. Now we're going to have 2 hours of Dynamite, 1 hour Rampage, and 2 hours of AEW on Saturday.
Don't forget to throw in Dark with
Elevation. By the way, the All Access show that they put on right behind Dynamite on Wednesdays, the behind the scenes show. Have we, and this is, let us know, tappedoutpod@gmail.com. By the way, Heath, that's where all the shitty comments go. tappedoutpod@gmail.com. He asked, he wondered where they went to. That is where they go.
We hide them.
There's a reason why
Nick doesn't even send them to me. Nick sends me like a run sheet of things I need to work on, and I throw it out and continue to do things exactly the way I want to. But
hold on, let me ask the question. Have we crossed the threshold now? AEW, does it have too much television once this second hour?
They both have too damn much television, and they forced you into a corner. They forced you to pick one of the other. There is no physical way that anybody besides some meth-smoking, homebound cripple that has to sit in
somebody who just doesn't have a life. There's no way you can watch especially once this 2 hour starts, because then you're 3 hours on Monday. I'm gonna have to add this up. 2 hours on Tuesday. 2 hours on Wednesday. Impact's 2 hours.
Impact,
right? Yeah. 2 hours on Thursday. 2 hours on Friday, and we're gonna get 2 more out. Oh yeah, hold on, I gotta go backwards. By the way, Friday's got Rampage. 14. We're gonna be, if you count All Access, the behind the scenes show, Dark and Elevation, you're probably at 20 hours a week of wrestling.
Yeah,
give or take. And to be generous, I'm going to say 17 to 20 hours a week of wrestling. What the?
And that's not considering pay-per-views.
Add 3 or 4 hours on pay-per-view week. You're easily at 20 hours.
So some weeks there'll be 7 days of now. That's great. And my girlfriend was like, "God, you watch too much. You watch how do you watch so much wrestling? It's like, I don't even watch half of it. Okay? I don't even watch half of it. I watch wrestling. Sorry, fans. I hate to pop your cherries on this one. I watch wrestling 2 nights a week and then spend the rest of my time going to live wrestling shows. And Friday nights, if there's a live wrestling show, I watch Smackdown on DVR on Saturday mornings or Sunday and try to go to a live wrestling show on Saturdays because I enjoy that more than anything else. And live wrestling keeps me being a fan. Live wrestling keeps me, and I'm not talking about WWE or Impact or any of this other stuff. I go to local indie shows, and that's what keeps me from being one of those dicks who criticizes people's work rates and makes all these stories up about people. Live wrestling keeps me grounded and still in love with wrestling. Live wrestling gets my feelings together. Live wrestling makes me a true wrestling fan who's not calloused, who doesn't get up in his own head and say, exclamation point, percentage, hashtag, star, $ wrestling, because I won't say fuck on Facebook.
Right.
It's I can't watch it all. And I've been out on disability for 4 months. Yeah. I don't even want to watch it all. I can't take that much.
Let us know, is it too much? How much are you watching? Look, we're not talking about, I don't watch WWE, it sucks. I don't watch AEW, it sucks. That's not what we're asking. How much are you watching in a week? tappedoutpod@gmail.com.
How much can you watch?
Yeah, who's got
you
that
have to make a
time?
decision. If you were to sit and make a decision, what are you going to watch? I've had to draw a line that I'm in Team WB. Some people are in Team AEW. Some people only watch Impact and you watch NXT. NXT is terrific. I'm real big on that Slow Ruka chick that was in the Cinnamon Toast Crunch thing. At everybody's like, oh, they had a Cinnamon Roast Touch thing in the middle of Rey Mysterio's match. You had that stuff, it's fucking delicious. Okay, and some of them have little luchador masks on them. If they told me if I was in NXT, you can be on WrestleMania, but you'll have to dance around in a big Cinnamon Toast thing. Okay, sure. That person gets the next chance. Next year on WrestleMania, they're going to remember who was in the Cinnamon Toast thing.
Do you remember that Charlotte, Sasha Banks, and I think Becky were the back, like they had the little things on in Triple H's entrance before they were when they were in NXT? Just, the team thing.
But. That's how it works. That even happens in local independent.
Last question, Myron. This is going to be a question, tappedoutpod@gmail.com. Let us know your thoughts. Eric Bischoff addressed the thing about CM Punk being on the All In show in Wembley. He says he wouldn't put him on that show for even if it meant he was going to sell a few more tickets, and thousands of tickets, by the way. Because the logic being, have you come full circle yet? I am over 60,000 now. I think they do at least 60,000 minimum tickets.
We are 9 days away from the early sale starting, and a total of 12 days away from the actual sale starting. Mm-hmm. If you can tell me in 2 weeks that they've sold 60,000 tickets, or 50,000 in 2 weeks, and I'm not talking about people who've reserved tickets. If you've got 50,000 tickets sold by not next weekend's podcast, but the podcast after that, if we come back and tell you they've sold 50,000 tickets by Sunday, I will not only be shocked, but I will say they don't have to do anything else to attract people.
I think they do 60. My argument would be, anyway, so the point being, I think the show's going to draw well, period. I think it will draw well enough. Bischoff's take was, if you put Punk on that thing and it does well, the argument will be made that Punk's return is what drew all of those people, knowing damn well that the show itself is going to draw. I would wait till the show ran after this, bring him back after, so that way you clearly know AEW drew this house. The brand drew this house.
Yes.
And then you go on. Now,
I wouldn't even bring him back for that 2-hour show until after this.
Well, you can't.
Anything.
The show. Well, yeah, we'll see.
I wouldn't bring him back for anything.
June 21st. There's a whole talk of the show's being built around CM Punk. So we're talking midsummer. It's before that. Blah blah blah. Million other pieces. By the way, terrible. Let's look sidebar out of this because I think this is a really.
I have one more question for you too.
Sure. Go ahead.
No. It's finish your story.
No. I was moving on to the Dax thing.
Okay, we were talking about Aubrey Edwards. Okay. And then, somebody we used to watch here in Georgia, Aja Pereira. I don't even know the name she uses in WWE as a referee who probably works more matches than anybody. Almost. Constantly on TV. You know why I don't know her name? Because they don't really say it much.
What's not the
Aubrey
story?
Edwards. Huh?
Because it's not the story. Like, she's
exactly
just doing her job.
Aubrey Edwards is, to me, acting like Ric Flair and trying to seize as much of the action as she can and trying to me, I like the referees where I don't, unless they have a valid part of the story.
I don't blame her, though.
You should.
I don't know that it's her fault. If she's being pulled into the story or being told to do this, it's not her fault. She's doing her job.
I'm just not comfortable with referees getting that much attention. I think she's more of an attention hog than she should be as a referee.
I don't know. That's a debatable. Like, again, if it's all being pushed that way, that's a whole other argument. But
now, she is good a referee as she should be, or was she picked because of her personality and
no, I think she's talented. I mean, there's nothing. I think that. Listen, I think everything that you as a whole probably have issues with Aubrey Edwards, I think is an issue of referee, like, in AEW. There's
style.
Multiple, like, yeah.
Okay, we're going with style.
I don't think it's a her thing. I think it's just it's across the board, all referees in general.
Like, I didn't know Earl Hebner had a twin until it was actually part of a storyline, an angle. And that's the way I look at I'm sorry, I don't mean to insult referees.
No, good ones aren't noticed.
Yes.
But anyway, that's a totally different argument.
They don't make a big deal out of getting down on the mat to count. They don't and overly gesture. They just do their job, and they're not needed until the time they have to make a ruling.
Right.
They shouldn't be a focal point.
Correct. But however, a big focal point this week was obviously the big announcement. Dax Harwood is stopping his FTR podcast with Matt Kuhn as the co-host. Two things. One, by the way, very, very disappointed on a couple levels that this thing's ending. It's a very entertaining podcast. Now, I guess I could maybe say this. At WrestleCade last year, had a conversation with Matt Kuhn about, I didn't know every detail of it at this point, but he was really excited about this project. He was really looking forward to it. Thought they had a lot of positive stuff to offer, and they both did, by the way.
Yeah.
But to see the backlash, just the sheer negativity, and it stemmed from simply him saying, like, he was friends with Punk, and then just the fans just like backlash all about the Punk stuff was just.
No, this wasn't Rick Boogs, okay? This wasn't Rick Boogs or Boggs. This wasn't Elias saying this. This is somebody who's respected as one of the greatest tag team wrestlers of all times. Serious old school. Okay? Somebody who people talk about, oh, he was in Japan and he's and who somebody talked about. And the moment he said, I'm friends with Punk, all of that work that he'd done to get established as an internet wrestling community favorite went out the window. So what you're telling me is these people are so fickle that you can't tell other people who your friends are, or you like somebody controversial, or they'll turn on you. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Why is the internet so ridiculous? What was Heath saying, or somebody I saw one a group we're in where The good thing is the internet gave everybody a voice.
Oh, I've been saying
The
that
bad
for
thing,
years. I've been
the
saying that
bad
for
thing
years,
is
yeah.
the internet gave everybody a voice.
Yep. But yeah, I think it was Robert in one of the groups that we were in. He posted it, but I've been saying that for years that I 100% agree. It's the absolute worst. Everybody's, look, we're not going to go down that rabbit hole. Well, maybe that's a special for another day. But I'm disappointed that it's going away for the reasons it's going away. Especially, it'd be one thing if they said, "Hey, man, just not enough people listening to it. We're going to go away." But because of negativity and stuff like that to go away, I mean, it's kind of disappointing.
But it's stupid negativity.
Yeah.
It's not even like he said a horrible something. If he said something horrible, if he'd have done something or said something horrible, I could get it. But if he's just like people just being a dick to be a dick, I'm sick and tired of that shit.
Yeah.
Okay,
so, yeah. So, anyways, enough about the negativity. We wanted to start something a little different, a little new. We had discussed this a little while back.
Yes.
Wanted to do something positive, try to help some indie talents or just some people we know, promote some stuff, be positive. So we wanted to create a segment because look, we're on Pro Wrestling Tees, ProWrestlingTees.com. Myron's got the generic Pro Wrestling T-shirt. I've got our Wrestling's Like Women shirt on. It's on our store. Go to Pro Wrestling Tees and you can search Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast.
Buy one of our shirts. Buy one of the shirts we're going to talk about. But while you're there, these Pro Wrestling T-shirts are dirt cheap, and they are so soft.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, my girlfriend and my kids steal these shirts. My daughter went off to college, stole so many of my Pro Wrestling T-shirts. Not just these, like my Dr. X shirt, my Mick Foley. She's up there at college wearing those as nightgowns because I'm a really large fellow, but dude, their Pro Wrestling Tees has the best stuff, high quality. I have never ripped the underarms out of a single Pro Wrestling Row shirt, and every shirt I have, I'm fat. Okay, I am hard on clothing, and I've never destroyed a Pro Wrestling T-shirt.
Which is why we're a big fan of theirs. And what we decided to do is every week going forward, at least for a little while, we'll see how long this lasts, right? Every week we're going to select a new shirt that you should check out over on Pro Wrestling Tees. By the way, in the description on YouTube and on the podcast, we will put the link to the person that we choose every week. That's right. We're going to choose one person, one talent with you every week, and we're going to share a link to their page and some of their shirts and stuff. Our pick of the week to go to Pro Wrestling Tees and pick up a shirt. So, Myron, who did we start with first?
Oh, one of the nicest guys I've ever met, Frankie Air Paris. Where do we know Frankie Air Paris from, Nick?
So, as you can see there, the shirt, it's the cool WCW-looking logo, Air Raid, Air Paris. So, Frankie Paris, he is Air Paris. He was actually part of Air Raid with one AJ Styles. They were a tag team back in the day. They were at WCW. Of course, they were, if you're more of a local, they were NWA Wildside, all over Georgia, they all over the place. They've been around. Frankie's been a friend of the show for a long time. And I was like, dude, I've always dug that WCW look-alike logo shirt. So check that one out. Again, the link to the page, his specific page, will be in the description on the podcast as well as on the YouTube channel. And I'll probably put it up higher in more of the description, not down in the actual body of all the other mumbo jumbo down there that we usually put. So check them out, ProWrestlingTees.com. And you could search, Air Paris, or like I said, use the link. It'll be easier for you. Or you can search Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast. We got a few shirts over there as well that you can buy. And look, just support indie wrestlers that way. Like that's a great way, is to buy their merch, right there on Pro Wrestling Tees. Like I said, good quality shirts. They get shipped out pretty quick. Boom, you have your shirt. And, we're big fans of them.
Put your money where your mouth is.
Exactly.
Support your favorites. Buy the tickets. Buy the popcorn. Buy a shirt. I'm going to slip that gray one in my next bulk order when I order a bunch of stuff from Pro Wrestling Tees. Shirts to give out to fans. Shirts to wear. Shirts to replace the ones that have been stolen by my family. And occasionally I like a different colored shirt besides black.
Again, mix it up, shake it up a little bit.
Black t-shirts. Yes. Yeah. I wish they had these zipper hoodies in 5X, but they want solid hoodies. Zipper hoodies are my favorite.
Nothing like a good zipper hoodie, right?
Yes.
But you know what, man?
You never get cold. How would you know?
I don't know. I was fucking with you there. I have no idea. So, anyways, listen, like I said, we talk about put your money where your mouth is. Couple ways you can do that, obviously, with us. Head on over to YouTube as well, youtube.com, search Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast, or search by the handle Tapped Out Pod. Look, what do we tell you at the beginning of the show, Myron? Got to like the page, subscribe to the page, turn your notifications on, that little bell, so that way every time we put a new show up of some kind, you get it. Correct. Because you know what, man? I'll get into the minute why you want to do that as well. But then also, you can become a member, get stuff early. I talked to a content creator yesterday, and so we might look at some.
Oh, I'm
stuff.
excited about this.
Yep.
Yes.
But look, we get it. Some people are audio. Look, the audio's fine, but we do not put everything in the YouTube feed on the audio feed. Just the weekly wrestling show is over on our on the podcast platforms, whether it be Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, Google Podcasts, any and everywhere. Make sure you're becoming a subscriber there as well and giving a 5-star rating and review. We would greatly appreciate that if you're an audio listener. But we were talking about a little bit about that. We had a conversation yesterday. Author MB Mooney, I requested some specific content and he was like, "Hey, I'm actually cutting Mandalorian review. I'm going to cut it this week." And I said, "Hey, can I?" Yeah. An entire season review. It should be up later this week once he gets it cut. So check that out in the YouTube channel.
You know, he's one of the few people that outside of this group of handsome wrestling and Star Wars fans we have here, just us. He's one of the few people I would respect their opinion on something like that. Highly educated in English and literature. I really do think MB Mooney. I think he's more than qualified as a giant nerd like us to review Star Wars. And I thought this season of Mandalorian was phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they brought out the bad guy at just the right time after a season of character development.
Listen.
And also, you get bad baby, no squeezy.
Yeah.
I've been walking around all day long going, I tell it the dog, go, bad baby, no squeezy. And my girlfriend's like, he's just going to laugh at you. I'm like, he doesn't have a sense of humor.
Right.
He's a dog. Well, he just laughs at you. He thinks you're funny.
Like, no, he doesn't.
Like, he's a dog.
No.
He can't laugh.
No.
Yeah, no. Like, bad baby, no squeezy.
So we both enjoyed this season. We get it. It wasn't for everybody. By the way, feel free to share your thoughts at tappedoutpod@gmail.com on Mandalorian Season 3. And we'll have that review coming up, that season review coming up later this week, hopefully, from author. By the way, he is an author. He does write. It's kind of why we actually trust his opinion on stuff, storytelling and some stuff like that. But go figure. But, man, lots of stuff going on. We'll talk about, maybe I'll cut a video because this weekend I think we're both tied up. Got stuff going on this weekend. So
looking for a show on Friday or Sunday next week. I've got plans on Friday, or Saturday or Sunday. Looking for a show on Saturday or Sunday. Friday, I have to go up into the mountains, past the Landmark Arena for a concert for my daughter. Oh, did you see the thing?
We'll get to that next week. Because I want more information before we get to that. So keep that keep that in hold. Yeah. Keep that in check for now. So getting excited.
Speaking about passing Landmark Arena, I'm excited about something. Like a little kid at Christmas.
We got a teaser. We need a little more information before we go digging a whole lot on that.
Nick never reveals things until he's sure. This is not the Inquirer of Wrestling Podcasts. This is the Washington Post, the New York Times of wrestling podcasts. Pulitzer Prize winning wrestling journalist.
Yeah. Well, anything else you got before we get out of here, man? We're starting to run long. We got to take off and get out of here because, we don't want to hold you up for too long.
Love you guys. # Book Keitel. BOOKKYTEL. Look into this kid. He's going to be most improved wrestler in Georgia this year.
That's right. # lies, Myron. # lies.
Wrong podcast.
Wrong podcast. All right. My bad. Well, brother, that's all I've got. If you don't have anything else, what's the old saying, brother? If I've got nothing and you've got nothing, what time is it?
It's time to tap out.